Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today, finally, the day of reckoning has come. Our first EX battle unit, Shion. And goddamn, she looks really, really good in that dress. Her artwork looks really, really good. Her kit looks like absolute garbage. And, I wasn't a big fan of her when we saw her skill preview early this morning, and I am even less of a fan now that she has actually released. Why is that? Well, find out more on today's episode of Ice Cold Joker Hates Slime. Oh, Jesus. One, I had to go to pity for her, which means I had to go to pity for a shit unit. And two, she's just awful. She's just awful. So, she is featured with the same three other EX characters that the other banners have had: Tempest Elite Rimuru, the Light Masked Hero, and Wind EX Shizu. All three of these characters, not super great. Shion, really not great. So this banner is just a gigantic L in every way, shape, and form. But what does Shion do? We have her full kit now. We know what that first skill is. So looking at it, she has decent stats. She is only on these three teams. She is not on Ogre's Pride. She is not on Tempest Elite. Two teams that she very much deserves to be on. Deserves to be on Tempest Elite, and actually is a joke that she's not on Ogre's Pride, because this means that they do not consider her an ogre with pride. Explain that to me, devs. But she's on Protectors of Peace, the team that quote-unquote needs her, quote-unquote. She's on Determination to Prosper, a team built around Earth and Fire characters and whose full buffs only work for Earth and Fire, and in case you didn't notice, she's water. And then Pretty Sparkle, who is reliant on, yes, green orbs, but caters to magic characters. Shion is physical. So two teams where she absolutely does not make any goddamn sense, and two teams that she should have been on but are not here, is an interesting double down by the devs. Her ult, single target water physical, no extra effect because she is the single target DPS, as we all expect. She does not have any effect, she just wants to do damage. She certainly does. But looking at her skill, we know her second skill already is the follow-up orbs and the stacking crit damage. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. Her first skill, we kind of knew what it was. We didn't know what percentage, and we didn't know what the second effect was. And it is, when you max it out, for 80 points. Actually, it'll just be easier to show you in the actual kit itself. That way you don't have to pretend that it's maxed out. Where is she? There she is. Okay. So, 80 points, lowers ult resistance by 100% on everybody. That is a good amount. 100%. That's what Elmesia does. It's a lot. It's essentially adding 100% ult damage, but in a different way. So, that's good. And that affects everybody, which means everybody can benefit from that specific skill. And Overlord Shizu is only doing 50% versus 100, so Shion does double that amount. However, the second part that we were really worried about in making her very good, is mid. Increases own water attack by 10% for one turn. It's a temporary buff. And every time you use a skill until turn 8, you can get 5% extra water attack to a cap of 70. So when you max this out and you use a lot of skills on the Protectors of Peace, which you're going to, you will have 100% ult resistance down and 70% water attack. That's the skill, which it seems like a lot. They are continuing the trend of 170% buffs. She has 170. Hinata has 170 once you use 300 skill points. Where is she? Soe, last meta for Ogre's Pride, had 170%. Like, this is very much a trend that they are continuing on. 70, 50, if you do it, it's doubled to 100, 170 right there. This is intentional, and I don't foresee it changing anytime soon. Maybe for Third Annie, which is only 2 months away, maybe that goes higher. We'll have to see what kind of team it even comes out, if it's even a stacking team that can work 80-point skills in on the down. But this I'm not going to bring her on other teams just for 100% all resistance down. Same reason I'm not bringing Almesia on other teams for 100% all resistance down. Because I want to use other units that give me more usefulness off of half a skill. More than half a skill. I want units that have 4 effects off 2 skills that work really well for the team. Not a unit that is using half of 1 skill. So, I'm not a big fan of that. And I'm really not a big fan of the second skill. Causes Souls of Skills to generate water-seeking orbs. This is the follow-up effect that we've seen off of Tempest Elite Trainee and Goddess of Destiny Mirren. And before you ask, I did test it on stream. You cannot double stack follow-up orbs. Like, you cannot use Shion's skill and Mirren's skill and suddenly have 12 follow-up orbs, 6 light and 6 water. No, it will only take the most recently used skill. So if you use Shion first and then you use Mirren, you're only going to make light orbs, 6 of them. If you use Mirren and then you use Shion, you're only going to do 6 water follow-up orbs. They do not stack together for, 18 orbs in a turn. That'd be really funny if it did, and it doesn't, because they hate us. So already, that's unfortunate. And then she stacks her own crit damage. We have a lot of skills to use on this team. I don't think people understand now how this team is running. Don't ignore this. You can just bring Rimuru back up. Where is he? This team is ridiculously expensive, but for the wrong way. Because if we're running Overlord Shizu, if you happen and are lucky enough to have her, that's a triple alt swap. If you don't have Shizu, you're locked to either the Masked Hero with one singular alt swap, which means that things are going to get real expensive real fast, or you can bring Idle Shuna, which, that's not Idle Shuna. Where is she? She's down here. She has a double alt swap to greens, which is good. Her synergy buff will give people synergy, but the synergy power is locked to magic allies. So not super great for the team. You do get synergy rate, which is cool, but that's it. And then you have to use the alt swap. You have to use the single target or the single orb change from Rimuru in case you get unlucky. You got to use the multi-hits from Hinata. You got to use the follow-ups from Shion. You got to use the green buff and the orb change for Geld. Like, you are using a lot of skills in one turn. More than you would with a traditional blue stacking team. And even though Masayuki resets, sometimes you don't have the points. It is a lot of points to use. And on the cherry on top of the cake, Shion still does not max out Masayuki's 40% attack per turn. We can get to 32% attack per turn, which is still a lot. It's still a lot to get 32% attack in a single turn and do it over and over and over and over and over again. I think I capped out at 212% attack by the time we got to turn 8. That is a literal butt ton of attack. Let's not get that mistaken. Why 40, though? Like, why cap it at 40? That's such a weird number. Are we meant to use Rewind for one singular turn and get it? Are you meant to bring in the Wind Masked Hero and get the AoE orbs for funsies onesies and not get any orb or alt gauge for anyone else because they have to be Wind Hero orbs? I don't really know. But you get 18 hits off the multi-hit. You get another 6 off of the follow-up attacks. That is not 32 hit, or that is not 30 hits in a turn. It's close, but it's not. So already I'm confused on that. I'm confused on Shion's forces. I'm confused because she is very, very selfish, right? This alt resistance down is cool, but like what I explained earlier, I'm not going to bring her on a different team just because she has that skill. I would rather use someone that does 50%, but also gives me weakness strike and triple alt swaps, or does a bevy of other number skills that is not just half of one skill. The water attack, only for herself. The crit damage, only for herself. This follow-up orbs only works if you're running a green team, and the amount of damage you get is inconsequential at that point. So she's not going to be super useful on future teams because she doesn't help them at all. Like, yes, this does help. Can you get that from other places? Certainly. Does it require you to summon on a brand new spanking banner with a single featured unit character? No. No. Light Raphael was given away for free. He does 50% alt resistance down on a single target. Warrior's Mind Violet, 55% alt resistance down on everybody. Overlord Shizu, 50% alt resistance down on everybody. Granted, you can't get Shizu anymore, but Warrior's Mind Violet certainly has been around for a long time now. This Shion brings very little value to even this team, to be perfectly honest. Like, it's cool and everything that we're getting a little bit extra attack per turn, but everything else doesn't matter. Everything else doesn't matter. If I were to use the team that I am traditionally using, which is Overlord Shizu and Momiji on this team, Rimuru is going to hit harder than if I brought Shion. Let that sink in. If I were to take away a brand new 2-hour-old unit and swap it in for last month's meta character, Rimuru will do more damage. That's not a good sign. That is not a good sign. Yes, Momiji is very powerful, and that's why. She supports the rest of the team in multiple ways, including herself. She's got 2 skills that, for 4 different effects, right, total, 3 of them work for the team, and 1 of them doesn't, because it's a personal fire buff. Still, that is embarrassing. I do not understand what they are doing with this Shion. And it's such a damn shame because it's our first EX battle unit Shion. And she's missing forces. She's got some shit skills. Her trait is good. We didn't talk about that. Her Valor trait is shit. But most Valor traits are shit. It's just nerfing orange damage. Her actual trait, protection gauge every 3 turns. That's good. If you were to get dupes in her, which I do not recommend, even summoning for her to begin with. So there's no possible way you're going to have dupes for her. So, no. The answer is no. The thumbnail says no. And in no way, shape, and form am I going to use... both of these characters, normally one of them has value, one of them does not for future teams. Like, one does the supporting and kind of damage, one does a lot of single target damage. Both Rimuru and Shion, I think, are dead on arrival. Hinata, being not the type advantage nuking character at all, has more lasting value than Rimuru or Shion. Free-to-play Frey, I like more than this Shion. The free-to-play Protector, I've been using her a lot for EX Challenge Quests. I like using her more than I like using the Shion. And that's saying something. So, no. Save your crystals. If you don't have the Protectors of Peace team, don't summon for it. Keep saving for the 3rd anniversary. If you have Masayuki and you have Rimuru and you have Hinata, you absolutely do not need this Shion. Like, you do not. Do not summon for this Shion. I don't care what your circumstance is. I don't care what your team looks like. Do not summon for this Shion. She will not help you in the ways that you hope she will. But if you were dumb enough like me to summon, how did your summons go? Let me know in the comments below. But that's it for me. Take it easy, and I will see you all tomorrow, I guess, for 3 more fucking videos that I gotta record.